Hello. All right, we are live, and this is Harry Hawk, and this is going to be another episode of Youtubular Conversations on the FIR Podcast Network. And today I want to talk about Coachella, the live music event, and there is an exclusive partnership with YouTube. YouTube's certainly been in the crosshairs of media and pundits and activists, corporate activists, all about advertising and promotion. But I believe live music is probably as close to controversy-free content as YouTube can get. There's an excellent post on the official YouTube blog that has been put out by Ali Rivera. Ali is head of artist partnerships at YouTube, and the post makes it clear that you can get most of the content available through the live stream, and makes note that it is their 7th year doing this, and select acts are also available in the 360 view, which means if you're wearing a VR headset or have access to VR, you can watch in that full immersion mode. You can also watch 360 with your regular 2D browser, but you don't quite get the experience. Now, I recorded a video earlier today, a screenshot or cast of my desktop showing off what the YouTube channel for Coachella looks like. It's quite sophisticated. There's a built-in scheduling system where you can go in, pick the acts that you want, and set up a notification for yourself. And you can also obviously thus see which acts are coming up. And the whole thing is quite clever. And it also has a time and date toggle. And this was particular interest. That was of particular interest to me given the global nature of the YouTube audience. Essentially, it tells you the time in your local time, but if you hit the toggle, it will show you the actual time at the Coachella event. So perhaps you've heard that someone's going on at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, but of course that would be Coachella time. You can hit that toggle and see how many hours you have to wait or if you've missed it. There are multiple events at Coachella. It's not just a single event, multiple tents, and all of that is also reflected in the scheduling system. So really complex given that they had to deal with multiple days of the event and multiple tents, multiple artists. And so they've done whoever technically put together the partnership, if it was all YouTube or Coachella. I'll see if I can find out from contacts at YouTube, but it's certainly really top of the line. And again, I would encourage any communicators who are out there who are thinking about using YouTube to stream a live event, whether it's for a client or as part of a sponsorship package or even as part of a community building exercise. And it's so easy these days to live stream, putting together the kind of calendaring, putting together the type of calendaring and scheduling selection that Coachella is using on their channel, I think would really help make your event a lot easier for your publics to connect with and to really ultimately appreciate the effort that you've gone through to put it together. I can imagine, again, in terms of community building, perhaps in a local community where you might sponsor a smaller summer or fall music event or a crafts event, even political conversations, anything that's happening locally that your brand or clients are involved with, where there's more than one activity happening at the same time, it could be very effective. And even when the activity would be of interest to a broader audience outside of the time zone, again, these tools would be very helpful. Sorry about that pause. I was just checking to make sure the stream is working okay and that there are no questions in the chat room. I really don't expect that anybody is actually watching live, but this is giving me some experience with these tools. And so I'm just pleased that I can do this, whether or not anybody is actually watching me live. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, live streaming now is so much easier than it may have been a decade ago or going back to the early 80s or mid 80s with all of the larger music events that were happening from Live Aid in Philadelphia, Farm Aid, and so forth. The amount of technology and people and just the financial cost of doing a live stream really required partnerships, sponsorships, and really a monetization strategy. But today, and I want to point out again that I am doing this live stream on a Chromebook. Now, it happens to be a fairly expensive Chromebook, but nonetheless, I am doing this without anything sophisticated in terms of technology. Admittedly, it's not a super high resolution monitor, and I am looking kind of strangely above the camera angle because I want to talk directly into the microphone. But I was able to set this whole thing up in about 10 minutes, and I was streaming live to the world. And so it would be very easy for folks who are organizing events, if you created a Wi-Fi setup that was restricted to certain computers so it wasn't overwhelmed, you could certainly have a bunch of folks at a live event with Chromebooks and then, connecting to remote cameras, then which in turn connect to the Chromebooks and then feedback to the live stream. You could certainly also just have a single Chromebook with a single camera, and there's all sorts of features. And I'm just using free tools, using the Open Broadcast Studio. I've started to explore, but I can easily, for example, create a slideshow of images. I can create or display a previous video and so forth. And it can all be switched back and forth between the images. I'm just going to try right now a transition and then back to me. So that's all very easy and certainly very plausible, certainly very manageable. And then the fact that it can handle multiple microphones and multiple video connections means that it should be pretty easy to create a super amazing live event and then stream it out to your publics. And I just want to make it clear that I believe that ultimately live is going to be an increasingly larger component of events, but it is going to be a segmentation option. And what I mean by that is many of us, both younger and older, have grown to appreciate the fact that we can time shift events and activities and in particular video programming. So there will always be those folks who will choose to time shift something, whether it's at a conference that they can't attend or a television show that they want to watch. But there will be another cohort, another segment that will be very interested in the live event. There's something that is incredibly authentic about it because of the time nature, the nature that it is live and so that we are experiencing it together. And again, there'll be some people who will ghost, who will watch it later and sort of see what happened at that time, and that will become an interesting memorial in a sense, even if it's only a day later. But for the folks who will take part in the live event, that in of itself will be rich and amazing. And it may be as simple as a few dozen people watching a live game on YouTube or Twitch, or it could be hundreds, maybe thousands of people, tens of thousands of people or more watching an event like Coachella, a sporting event, and so forth. The live chat as a mode of engagement and interaction, and just the experience of living in the moment. And we can think about that as a metaphor, the idea of the floating world in Japanese poetry, living in the moment, for the moment. The live stream allows us to do that, and that is something truly amazing. And so bringing this back to the fact that all weekend you can be participating in Coachella through YouTube, where you don't have to leave your home, you don't have to travel across the country, and you don't have to spend hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars in tickets, rooms, and food and drinks and all of that. Clearly, I think for many people, being there live to see an act like Lady Gaga, for example, would be amazing. Perhaps for some, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. For others, a yearly ritual that they save for, and others just something that they do because it's so, for them, affordable. But nonetheless, we can all participate, hear the music, hear and see behind the scenes, and really see what it's possible with a robust multi-camera event. And that's my ultimate takeaway here. You should be spending some time on YouTube and checking out these channels, checking out what YouTube is offering, in terms of Coachella. And I'm going to